When the first steam-powered trains began to appear at the turn of the 19th century, the general public was timid and nervous about this new and advanced technology. They feared they would be shaken unconscious by the vibrations and that the speed of the train would make passengers unable to breathe. For before the train came along, no one had ever traveled faster than a horse could gallop, and a journey of 20 miles was considered significant. Of course, it wasn't long before these concerns were quickly assuaged and people were traveling at speeds once unthinkable, and distances took on entirely different meanings. Trips that once took weeks or months or even years were reduced to mere days over the tracks that crisscrossed the United States and spanned from coast to coast. Cities drew closer and life became interconnected. Yes, with the advent of the train, the world changed considerably, and a new era of travel was ushered in. A degree of luxury was added, with comfortable seating, dining cars, and sleepers. And the affordability of train travel meant that people who had never been on a journey before could now leave their homes and experience the thrill of traveling. They could take a holiday to the sea, visit distant relatives, or pick up and move entirely and start life afresh somewhere beyond the horizon. And now, in our modern era, in this age of superhighways and fast jets, travel time has been reduced yet further, and it can be easy to take for granted the distances that we're able to cover in such short spans of time. And in the United States, trains have been relegated to something of a relic of the past, slow in comparison, and an easily overlooked means to get you where you want to go. But for those in the know, and for those who still love the old magic of train travel, there are a variety of routes that you can still take. One of these routes carries its faithful passengers from the southern bayous of New Orleans, west through Texas, and across the cactus-rich landscapes of New Mexico and Arizona, all the way to the palm trees and sunny shores of the Pacific, to Los Angeles, the city of angels. It's the Sunset Limited, and it's our ride tonight. So take a moment to settle in and just get yourself comfortable. You might find that a few slow and deep breaths will help calm your body right down and make it easier for sleep to come and find you. So, go ahead. Why don't you try one with me now? Relaxed, calm, nothing to worry about here. So, let's go ahead and get on board and enjoy our trip west and imagine a simpler time as we stare out at the majestic landscapes from the broad windows of the Sunset Limited. With ticket in hand, you step on board the two-storied passenger train and are greeted warmly by the attendant for your car. "Welcome aboard," he says. "I'm Ted." And with a broad smile, he guides you to your own private compartment on the upper floor. The light is streaming in happily through the large windows, illuminating the clean and simple accommodations. There's cozy-looking cushioned seats, which will be folded out into a full bed when the time comes. A closet for your things, a tiny bathroom complete with toilet, sink, and shower, and a little table to rest a creamy latte on as you let your gaze wander over the views. It's all that you might need to enjoy your trip in comfort. Now, some trains are built for high speeds, like the impressive bullet trains in Japan, and others, like the Royal Scotsman, are for indulgent luxury. But the Sunset Limited lives somewhere in between and offers something perhaps a little more elusive. It offers the curious traveler an opportunity to dip in and out of some of the most diverse and remote parts of the southern United States, and to see what would otherwise be difficult by any other means of travel. Often going where there are no roads, the Sunset Limited will cross deserts on its route, skirting wayward borderlands and majestic national parks, and roll through tiny towns barely remembered on the map, remnants of times past, old mining towns in the middle of nowhere. And for you, on this trip, you're happy to be enjoying a voyage free of the hassles of traffic jams and the hands-on of car travel. You're free to close your eyes as you like, to stretch your legs at leisure, and to admire the views to your heart's content. This is part of the joy of train travel and what makes it so special. As well as the seating and sleeping cars, the train has a dining carriage, a cafe, and an observation lounge, which is where you're headed now to enjoy the spectacle that Mother Nature has prepared for you. The lounge has floor-to-ceiling windows that curve and round at the top to give you a full view of everything, no matter where you look. Every angle is captured through the panoramic glass, and so you ease into one of the comfy swivel chairs to sit and watch how the landscape changes in front of your eyes, and to let the rhythmic clacking of the wheels on the tracks relax you soundly. And as the train rolls out of New Orleans, the Big Easy, that vibrant and spicy city, and begins its long journey west across the continent towards Los Angeles, you take a deep breath of happiness for what is to come, for the journey that is upon you. It's not long before you're out of the downtown urban area and rolling through the suburbs of the Deep South. You rumble past green parks with tall, stately trees and wide open farmland full of corn and sugarcane crops, whose long stalks sway in the breeze. You pass the occasional ramshackle house along the tracks, where old pickup trucks sit slumping, tired from their long years of labor. And you wonder about the stories you would find there. Louisiana is well known for its bayous, those marshy lakes and wetlands teeming with life. So it's no surprise as their particular form of geography begins to fill your view and bayou country floats past the windows. Cypress and oak trees line the boggy shores, seemingly dripping in long strands of wispy green moss. And you imagine all the frogs and birds and crickets coming together to form a beautiful melody, and the great white egrets picking their way daintily through the shallow waters. You catch sight of two fishermen, what looks to be a father and son, standing on an old wooden dock, their lines cast out, perhaps on the lookout for shrimp to fill their gumbo pot or a fresh trout for the grill. Scenes of Louisiana life. Time seems to slow down for you here on your perch in the train, snug in your glass cocoon. It's your chance to switch off and take a little time for yourself, to recharge and unwind and let the moments unfold without any hurry or rush. And you can feel yourself relaxing, the tension slowly draining from your body as you just enjoy the scenery without you having to do anything at all but watch and breathe. You sigh. It's a sigh of contentment, of tranquility, just a traveler on a journey for the pure pleasure of it, enjoying the spectacular landscapes, a constantly changing, endlessly fascinating, living work of art. Landscapes that begin to take new form as the train passes its way from Louisiana into Texas, continuing west and away from the Gulf Coast. Bayous give way to dense stands of trees and shrubs and pockets of old short-leaf pine forests where white-tailed deer run free. And sprinkled amongst the abundant pine are oaks and elms, ash and maple, which make for a beautiful autumn showing when their leaves turn red and gold. You sit back in your chair and stretch and watch for wildlife amongst the trees. And as the train continues its relentless drive west across Texas, the forests eventually begin to thin out and ranches become more prominent, acreages of cattle country, and the prairies take over, wide and vast, where you spot people on horseback riding through waves of yellow grass. and timber cabins buckling under the weight of a massive domed sky overhead, under which jackrabbits bound and golden eagles soar. It's one breathtaking scene after another, and you count yourself fortunate to witness the bounty of Mother Nature, all made possible by the tracks laid down over a century ago in the train that chugs along them. Yes, it's an ever-changing slideshow, and the further west you go, the more the desert begins to make itself known, quietly at first, as colors of tan and ochre begin to show more than any other amongst the tall grass and craggy mountains. And here, high plains are studded with rocky mesas and sweeping wall-like cliffs with dusty canyons below the bluest of skies that have now begun to settle themselves for the soon-to-come sunset. That middle-of-nowhere feeling hits you and leaves you feeling light and free. You're far from the man-made world here and any of its accompanying stress, just rolling through the red landscape. The expanse of the desert begins to fill with thousands of saguaro cacti, the quintessential sign that you're deep in the American Southwest now, amid the arid Sonoran Desert. Some of the cacti climb many meters high, their bendy arms reaching for the sky, and you imagine scenes from the Old West playing out here, and the settlers that once drove across the terrain in covered wagons, bound for California or the Great Salt Lake. Off in the distance, a rather striking mesa rises up in the distance, dominating the horizon. Its flat top a deep red in the last vestiges of sunlight of the day. And it's not long before the entire world around you begins to turn a similar vibrant red. The sky, the desert, inflamed with the light of the sun, crimson. Here, far out in the desert, the sunsets are deep and red, the colors vivid and exaggerated. The secret is in the dry, clean air, unpolluted, pure. Feathery clouds catch the light and reflect it back to your eyes, and the rust-colored rocks seem to glow from every angle. Even the viewing carriage begins to glow as the color streams in through the glass. And sitting beneath the curved windows, it feels like you're riding a comet through a burning sky, the clouds and desert ablaze as you scorch onwards into the night. You're lost in the brilliant shades of red and orange that so effortlessly slash across the sky. And you watch in wonder as the curtain comes down at the end of another day. You sigh deeply. Another moment of the deepest contentment for what you have just witnessed. And as the first stars arrive to twinkle in the faded evening sky, a drowsiness begins to overtake you. And so you bid adieu to the day and to the wonders you have watched. Back in your compartment, where the bed has been made up, with the covers turned down and towels and water bottles set out, you climb in and get yourself comfy. Under the glow of the nightlight, it's as cozy as the inside of a tent, and your eyes fall shut immediately. It's time to sleep now, while the train rumbles on in the night towards the city of angels. Good night.